Okay, so let's share fucking shit. I didn't do any of this before I went live, so do that. I figured I'd start with these because these were right next to the guns I posted last time. I'm just gonna kind of keep randomly picking adventures through Instagram, I think. But this is Arnold Schwarzenegger's long slide from the first Terminator movie. That's my hand. And then that's his Uzi, and that's my hand and a friend's. Put it that way. And there's a lot of other, cool shit in this picture too. But it was cool to actually get to hold that gun. Oh, let's see what else we got. Again, Shockwave at a disco. Lots of Shockwave pics because that's what I had during this. Let's see. Skip ahead. There's the Canic for those that were curious but want to see it. Let's get back further. I took this picture on acid. It was a beautiful day. See if I can find the other acid trip. There's another post on here that's 100% an acid trip. Maybe it's not on here. Thought I posted it. It's weird. Maybe an image of indoor. I like how there's a little description of what my picture is. That's creepy. Okay. We'll go through some gun porn here. I forgot I reposted this stuff. This is kind of some Soviet shit. You got what is that? RPD up there on top. That one is a Polish kit I bought at Wanamaker years ago. That was built by DSA. It was a really good gun. I had fun with it, but it was. I had the opportunity to sell that to fund buying a Mac 11, and I did that. That's where that went. Otherwise, I'd probably still have that gun. It was a pretty sweet gun. It was a belt-fed, heavy-barreled 7.62 by 39, and being 7.62 by 39 in semi-auto, you never got hot enough to cook that barrel. It was a pretty bitching gun. Below that is that's a real PU sniper, but it was one of the Molot Russian hunting guns that was like a refurbished sniper, but it had its World War II matched bolt and rifle. And I think that was like $400 when I bought that. And yeah, that was a real good deal. And same on that SKS. That's a Russian SKS. The AK is a Bulgarian. That was my lip, by the way. I was making a noise. That's a Bulgarian kit on a. Who made that receiver? It's DDI before they became Palmetto State Armory. That was one of the few DDI guns ever made, I guess. And I put Polish handguards on it. Sorry, I can't think of what those are called. And I put a Chinese grip on it because it looked wood or whatever. And I wanted a gun that looked kind of Vietnam-ish. And like with the AK, you can't really get a real anything. So I was getting as close as I could. And then next to that's a VZ52. I really like those guns. They're cool. It was a MVA officer pistol for a lot of that war. And then below that is the PPS 43. That one is it's one of those Polish semi-auto pistols. It's in 7.62 by 54. Sorry, 7.62 by 25 toke. Although one of those in 7.62 by 54R would be spicy, say the least. Can I just click a thing? Yeah, I can just click a thing and go to the next one. This is an AK that I did up. There's metal underneath the packy tape on the upper handguard, so it's kind of like a Khyber Pass kind of gun. It's decked out like the Afghan guys do their rifles. In the snow. That's another Chinese rifle. That's a Romanian. That's a Bulgarian on the bottom with a Romanian dong on it because, style. And above that is what the hell is that thing? A Mac 90 that has been pimped out and tacticalized. Both pretty cool. This is a Sterling that I almost bought. This gun was $7,000, and I passed it up because I didn't quite have that, and I was buying the Mac 11 because I could get a lay jumper for it. It would have been cool to have the Star Wars gun. It's one of my old M1s. It's a SVT I had. That's a Shockwave and a Pepper Box 410 thing that was made by who made that? Leonad? Yeah, Leonad, which is like Cobra. But for whatever reason, that company keeps changing names. This is an IMA dummy Thompson that I got a hold of. It was a sweet thing to have. I traded this for 2 real guns to give you an idea of what that thing's worth. That's an all original Lend-Lease Thompson kit on a aluminum dummy receiver that's pretty passable. It belongs in a museum or whatever, This is a cool shotgun that I made. When I bought this thing, it had a horrible set of wood on it that was made for trap shooting and it was just god awful looking. And they had reblued the whole thing and they'd put some sort of horrible cuts compensator thing out on the end of it. I cut this gun to 20 inches, I think, and then had the bayonet lug put on it. And that was the configuration, the first of the GI guns, I believe, were. It makes the barrel stick out just a little bit past the bayonet lug, but if you look at original pictures, the early ones are like that. And I wanted one of those, and I was doing my version of it. So this is my version of it. I like a 20-inch barrel. I put a new stock on it that I just got off eBay for $150, and that's a new Winchester pump from Numeric for $20. But I paid for this gun while I was in college in Springfield, Missouri, at a garage sale, $100. Yeah. But like this was a gun nobody would ever buy. It needed $300 worth of shit to ever be anything anyone would want. The thing is, I took it and turned it into something everyone wanted, and this thing sold for quite a bit of money. Another Shockwave pick. This is the one I'm actually going to buy back. It's the single shot 12 gauge 9mm. I looked at that and saw the small diameter hole, and brain went 410. But it's a 12 gauge with a 9mm. More Russian guns. It's a Chinese Spiker AK. That's a Mac 90 that was converted. Same Russian SKS in the middle. Same Mosin. Bunch of gear around it. The gear, I just kind of wanted something to look like some shit that somebody might have thrown down in the field in Vietnam with that Russian flag. I thought was cool. And there's a bunch of Chinese rigs and some U.S. equipment that they might have stolen, and a fucking like corner of some sort of pith helmet. I think it's a dope photo. This is one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken. Another one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken. We already have talked about a couple of these guns, but the Paratrooper carbine is a real World War II carbine in a real World War II stock, but they didn't come together. The shotgun, I already explained. The BAR. So in 2012, I traded an AR-15 and mags and ammo and rifle plates and a carrier for the parts kit for that BAR, complete on a receiver as a dummy gun. And then I paid somebody a couple grand to turn that into a functional gun. So that is an all legit World War II parts on a Philadelphia Ordnance 80% receiver finished out by a SOT here in Oklahoma as a semi-auto Browning automatic rifle. And I wanted one of those because it was my fantasy growing up to have one. Like there was a list of guns I saw in movies growing up that I wanted to actually own and actually shoot. And I, as you can see, went down that fucking list. Like I hit them all, baby. That BAR is quite possibly one of the coolest things I ever owned. However, it is a 20-pound thing that turns 30-06 into noise. It has no practical purpose other than being awesome. And I couldn't justify keeping it when it cost as much as a cheap car. That's why I don't have that gun anymore. M1 Garand, I love that gun, but I don't need to own one. I've shot them a bunch, and the ammo is getting more expensive, and the guns are getting more expensive, and I found someone that wanted my gun a whole lot more than I did on that one. That's what I did on many of these. Then the thing you should get is, for me, I don't care about owning the thing for forever. I want to have owned it. I want to take its picture. I want to shoot it. I don't want to marry the woman. I want to fuck her. It's exactly how you should think about me and guns. The Thompson we already talked about. That's the dummy. The other two, that 1911, I built from the ground up. It's a lifeboat slide. It's a World War I era slide that obviously sat in some sort of a lifeboat for a long time. It was a rust bucket when I got it. And it was, solid to be a slide, but it just looked like shit. And I loved it because of that. So I built a whole gun around it. I ended up needing money at some point, and it was like the least loved of all the babies, and it went away. It was not the best 1911, but it was a pretty good 1911. It was all USGI parts on a Caspian frame. It also went for good money. The Thompson pistol there is my idea of how to get a cool Thompson for cheap. I put the cuts compensator on it myself with a set screw. I drilled it for a set screw and then put that in. And that was the best way I could think to do that for cheap, and it worked. And then I put a real Thompson grip on it because the Thompson grip it came with sucked. But other than that, it's a pretty passable, like airborne Thompson, one of the ones they would have taken the stock off on. It looks good in this kind of thing with that dummy. Those two together definitely handle Thompsons, in my opinion. This is my wall display from back in the day. I wanted all the fucking equipment that I would have jumped into fucking Normandy with if I was going to do such a thing, and I decided that I was going to set it up as fucking M1 carbine because like that makes the most sense to me. 1911, of course. Like this is fantasy, 100%, but like this is my picture, and I got to take it. And it's a cool set of equipment, and the D-Day clicker that you see right here is still in my shit today. A lot of other shit there, but I've like this M1 carbine again. I've played with so much of this stuff that like I don't know. I think it's cool to look back at some of it, but it informs my opinion of what I'm doing now. And that's why you see so much canvas gear. That's why you see so much like chest rigs and shit. Is I played with all of the U.S. gear from World War II to present. And I played with a lot of other shit too. And what I liked was the chest rigs. And this is that same 1911, same M1 Garand, World War II era Union fork and hoe bayonet. That's a Camillus K-bar from Vietnam. And then that's a Marine helmet. And that's a flag I have. We just used that in a video for the 4th of July. You'll see that there's fireworks involved. These are the Vietnam guns altogether. And like you should know, I didn't ever have all of these all at the same time. Like in this photo, I had all of these. But like I didn't have all of these and the BAR and all that shit. Like this is the thing that filled the hole in my heart from selling the BAR, was getting to play with every gun from Vietnam. It's a good consolation prize, isn't it? This is why you sell guns. And I'm not saying sell every gun you got. Like, there's some of these that I regret selling. That Norinco M14 is a good gun. Bunch of the Chinese and Russian shit in there. I kind of wish I'd kept, to be honest. It's going to be pricey if I ever want to replace it, but I don't really want to replace it. It's stuff I've kind of just played with. And this is a cool picture, too. This is regular Mosin, that same sniper Mosin, SVT 40, SKS. That's the Bulgarian DDI AK at the bottom there with its original Bulgarian furniture on it instead of the stuff that I put on it. And then the PPSH 41. I forget who made that, but it was like semi-auto kit build with a 16-inch barrel, but it was a cool gun. So, more guns. The Mac 11 you saw in the other picture. This is just a semi-auto Masterpiece Arms, same 1911, same M1 carbine. This is a Remington 870 that I picked up. I think that is the Express. I picked one up after that was in that other picture probably. Yeah, the one in this picture is not the Express. This is a 1980s era police Remington that was set up cool looking and kind of trench gun-ish. There were 870s in Vietnam, and I wanted a Vietnam looking 870. But that's a closer up picture of it. The M16s there, you got the full size M16, and then you got the Colt Commando. It's the XM177E2. And M14 again is from Norinco. That 50 cal cracks me up so much because so many people see that in some of my pictures and just go, "Oh, that is a dummy. That is a $300 chunk of plastic." And I used it to take a picture of an airplane being shot at for Pearl Harbor Day or some shit, and the airplane was on monofilament being hung from a fucking power line, and I got so much shit for that on Instagram because like they're gonna come after you. I'm like, nothing in that photo is real. Hollywood, baby. This is another just kind of U.S. group picture. I think we talked about everything in that picture, though. That M16 is actually it's a Colt barrel, but it's a modern Colt barrel. And then it's an M16 A1 parts kit that I got from, who was that? Apex, maybe? Somebody like that. One of the online parts people. And I put a new Colt 1-7 barrel in it and put it on in that picture, it's on an old Colt receiver that eventually got built into that XM177. But in this picture, it is the lower for this M16. But it eventually got replaced with an M16 E1 lower from Nodak Spud that I beat up to match the kit. That's a good gun. I sold that one also for a bunch of money. I'm really into building up USGI stuff and selling it off. And I know a couple other guys around Tulsa that are into doing that shit because not everybody has to have a real trench gun. Some people just want a real Winchester that was converted by someone who knows what the fuck they're doing. And I am not best friends. I am good friends with a guy that does a lot of those. I've just known him for years and years, and we've always talked shotguns because there's not that many people that are nerds to the level that I am about the Winchester 1897 trench shotgun. He is one of them. Like, I could talk about that gun for days. It's a very cool gun. And it's a gun that I like multiple different versions of the gun. I like the bayonet lug trench gun model with the fixed tube and all of that, where you can't take it down. I also like taking a fucking bird gun and making it 18.5 inches and having the takedown mechanism on it and having a shotgun that you can pack away. And like the holy grail would be the trench gun that you could take down, but when you do the trench gun mod, you kill the ability to take the gun down. And all the real trench guns were non-takedown models, which that one that I found at a garage sale for $100 that had been reblued was a non-takedown model. That's why that gun got, $150 stock put on it when it was $100 gun. Because I bought one that I thought looked pretty good and felt pretty good and was solid, and it took some money to do that. But I like this stuff. I don't know if I'm going to do any more of it because it's expensive, and you can make money at it. But at the time, I was doing all this through FFLs, and I get the feeling that until things change. Actually, let's go back. I think there were more pictures on that one. No. Until things change politically, I don't see me being really interested in guns very much other than like my survival guns. So these, I'm kind of just flying through these. You can tell how much I care about pistols. I really don't. They're secondary in my considerations, but I do like them. The top is a Cimarron Uberti. It's a copy of Custer's Cavalry's model of fucking 1873 Colt, and it's a cool gun. I redid the grips on it. I peeled off all that red shellac shit and put on tung oil. Makes it a good looking gun. Little Colt Detective Special I picked up for $400, and a friend of mine has that now. It's his favorite gun. He tells me about it all the time, and it's one of my favorite guns too. And he'll never sell it back to me. The 22 Bobcat there, another friend of mine has, and I don't think he'll ever sell that back to me either. It's kind of a cool gun, the laser on it. And then the G19C, it was cool. The compensated Glock was cool. The same two revolvers. That was the J-frame on the day I bought it. I'm sorry, not J-frame, Detective Special. When I see a small gun like that, I think J-frame, whether it is or isn't. And this is how that gun came, actually. It came with that little, what's it called on it? Trailer T-grip. Well, that's guns we already have. Stuff we already seen. The view of that. Cool, ominous sunset. Manhuron produced Walther PP. I thought this gun was super cool. It came through my hands while COVID was going on. So I built an experimental top charger AR-15 and played around with it. It sucks. Don't do that. I was just curious as to, was it any good? Because it looks like a cool idea. Like, you think about it, that carry handle's kind of useless. If the charging handle was there, like, it makes a lot of sense. It's kind of sucky. It doesn't totally suck ass, and it's not near as bad as people make it out to be about the charging handle being hot. It's just they did a much, much better job. I think the AR-15's charging handle's one of its biggest points, in my opinion. Like, a lot of people hate it because of its charging handle. I kind of like it because of its charging handle. It's out of the way. You don't use it very much, and when you need to use it, it works. Oh, the 1911 in that picture. Let's go back. That is a Rock Island that I put. I think those might be wood grips on. Actually, I take that back. That might not be a Rock Island. What gun is that? Yeah, that is a Rock Island. That's a Rock Island that I put either USGI grips or some sort of wood grips. I can't really tell. But I scuffed it up with 600 grit sandpaper, and blued the Rock Island logo, and when you do this, it makes it look like a World War II gun. It's one of like the best kept secrets about Rock Islands. It's a thing that you could go and do this to a bunch of Rock Islands and sell those on Gunbroker and probably make money. Okay, it's a cool looking gun. I sold that one to a guy that did motor vehicle stuff, and he had a bunch of Jeeps and shit. And now that thing is like sitting in the hood of a Jeep or some shit. The Chassepot de Famas book. I really enjoy that book. It's in my bag of books for the end of the world, and that's with the Manhurin pistol and my weird tiger stripe holster I made for it. I still got that holster. I'm gonna find something to use it for. That's the French pistol with my gun. I like that 1911. AR-15 again. These are just me posting regular pictures. Let's go find some cool shit. This is cool. I had both of these to where they could break down. How small that is. Handy storage. This is one of my favorite picks. That's a pre-BCZ75, a Mauser coded Luger. It's 42 code Luger. Then the Mauser broom handle there is a TU 712 that's Norinco made, and they sold through Navy Arms. You don't want to know what that cost. That's 9mm, and it's semi-auto. that gun costs a lot of money. I got it for $1,700, and I made a lot of money selling it. That's all I'll say. The SIG there is the 226 Legion, and the Glock is a 17L, and that is the ALG. What do they call that? 6-second mount. And on that 6-second mount is a real T1 Micro and a real Surefire Vampire. So, for those not in the know, the light alone on that gun is $400. That optic, at the time that was made, that was a $600 or $700 optic. It was a $150 mount, and that gun was like an $800 gun. So, like, this is a pile of pimp-tastic shit, and I think it's cool. But, like, this is the stuff I like in pistols. That's why I really, other than having stuff to shoot or whatever, I like some pretty pimping stuff. And that's why I like the Flux Raider. Everyone's like, why'd you buy that? I wonder. It's the most pimpity-pimptastic thing I've ever seen, pretty much. Pimpity-pimptastic. This is how my Tiger Stripe camo came out first run. It's Easter colors. How about that? Really goes well with the yellow. It's my war rig. I like that setup. This one's cool. This is a PM Mosin. So, like, enemy at the gates, this is what he really had. Big titty queen, because I probably should have left this holster at this. This was a pretty bitchin', like, just having the black stripes across it with the little faded lines. Dope. I don't think that would have held up to being washed, though. I just took these pictures after I dyed it because it looked so good. Let's see. So this is I forget who made this. Mossberg Target 22 from 1938. They only made that gun for 3 years. I picked it up missing a few parts for $75. see. Let's go skip some shit. Baby Church. Baby Church is worth sharing. Isn't he so cute? This is just a quality meme. So the little Colt there is one of my favorite pistols in the world that I don't want to talk about what happened to it, but it's lost. I still have the grips. And then this thing is an Altor pistol. It's a cool gun. I didn't keep it because I couldn't think of a single thing I would ever do with it. And it was kind of not safe. And I knew a place I knew someone who would buy a weird thing like that and I could get my money back. And I took that opportunity because it's one of those guns that I don't know. And like it's one of those when you know all of like the people that buy guns in your area, I know a guy who has a fucking gun store that would not want to get a bunch of these to sell, but he'll buy one off of me used and have it in his cabinet. And if it doesn't sell, so what? Now he has a free whatever this is, if it ever is worth billions. Those people are handy to know, especially if you're friendly with them and whatever. And you're like, I tried this and you want a good deal on it. That's kind of how I would not lose as much money while cycling through guns. That's the thing that you need to understand about, trading around guns is inevitably you're going to lose money. You just need to try to make money as often as possible to cover the losses. This is not a money-making endeavor ever. This is I want to shoot all the guns thing. And like that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't get about me is I just like to shoot all the guns. I can't shoot them all, apparently. Let's see what else we got. Ooh, forgot about that one. That robot is being controlled by a quadriplegic, and it's being used with a kitchen knife to torture a woman. What a fascinating modern age we live in. %100. We could totally just do memes. This is a good one. Oh, I'm going to end it on this one. This is enough of this probably for now. Thanks for watching. I hope somebody enjoyed this. This is a trip down memory lane. I'll do more of these and kind of do this in sections. I don't know how many of these we could make, but a lot. There's more than 5,000 pictures, and I was skipping a lot of shit. But there's a lot of shit that like there's no reason to talk about. It's just me posting something I cooked or something. But maybe people would even be interested in that. I don't know. We'll see. Thanks for watching.